Znam samo nekoliko reci na srpskom. I only speak a few words of Serbian. I talked about memorization in the previous video. Having phrases like this in your back pocket, it's a great thing to do. It's a great thing to do, particularly early on. So, remember to remember. Memorization. In this video, I'm going to talk about the next principle in language acquisition. Principle number 5 or 6, I forget where we are. But the next principle is your language is your lover. Take your time. Take your time with this relationship. Take your time with this relationship. Take it slow. Invest your time. Invest your energy. Invest your days, your weeks, your months, your years. People are very impatient. People are very impatient. Now I hear people say they're going to acquire a language in this amount of time, that amount of time. I'll give you a quick breakdown. For a Romance language such as Spanish, which I think is possibly the most accessible, you're talking 500 hours. 500 hours to get to B2 level, which is moderately capable. Moderately capable. 500 hours. So we break that down, that's an hour and a half per day for a calendar year. If you're a professional, and that's intensive study as well, probably plus some exercises as well. So 500 plus hours for Spanish. For Serbian, it would be about 1200. Depends on the language, obviously, it varies per language. So take your time, take your time. And even, well, you won't have a choice. You won't have a choice, you will have to take your time. So mentally, stretch out, radically stretch out how long you think this process is going to take. You're not going to learn a language in a month. It's not going to happen. You can maybe up a level in 3 months. So you can go from B1 to C, you can go from B2 to C1, for example, in 3 months. Intensive. Yeah, you can. But if we're going from 0, we're going all the way, you need to radically increase that timeline. Drastically. But the good thing is, once you have the language, once you've learnt it, you have learnt it. It lives with you. The synapses are wired. Okay? So that's very important. That's very important. Radically increase your timeline. With the languages that I love, there's really no timeline. To get functional in Portuguese took me about 11 years, which is incredibly slow. And I had dozens and dozens of breaks. I'd turn it on for a month or two, I'd turn it off again. I'd go out to Portugal, I'd be using it, I'd be studying, and then I'd be back in the UK and I'd turn it off again. But I always had in my mind, we'll just keep this going, we'll keep this rolling. And over time, things started to cohere, things started to work. I don't know how long Spanish and French is, probably about a decade as well. Probably about a decade for those two each. So I've got about 30 years between those 3 languages, about 30 years of study to get all 3 of them. So increase the timeline and actually enjoy it. Enjoy the process. And if you sincerely don't enjoy the process at all, or you don't have an external motivator for learning, cultural, personal, business, then I think you can just accept it's going to be a little hobby that you'll dip in and out of for fun. But you're not going to be a serious language learner. You're not going to be someone who's going to go and acquire a language at a high level. And that's fine, because we all have choices to make in life. We all have choices to make. There's things that you can invest time into, but by definition, you can't invest time into everything. So, yeah, that's my final little segment here. If you are going to invest your time, your energy, it should be a relationship of love. It should be a relationship of adoration, of passion, of challenge, and radically increase that timeline. Okay, there's no rush. The language is going to be here next week, and the week after, and the week after that. Okay, so just keep going, and we'll leave it there. The language Lothario. I'm a little bit muted today. I had a big gym session, and yeah, I'm a little bit fatigued, but anyway, we'll still come in with a little video. Peace, love, Josefsky.